5 words she uses when she's secretly sleeping with another man. Female psychology. You think betrayal always arrives with a confession, a lipstick stain, a message left open on the screen. But most of the time, it arrives dressed as language. Calm language, casual language, 5 words that make you question your own eyes. The 5 words are this: you're just being paranoid again. Read that again in your mind and feel what those words are designed to do. Not clarify, not connect, not solve. They are designed to move the spotlight off her behavior and onto your perception. That matters. Because when a woman is hiding something deep enough to fracture trust, she rarely starts by defending the truth. She starts by attacking your right to notice the lie. And before we go deeper, subscribe to this channel if you need regular reminders that truth matters more than comfort. Not because I need your click. Because if you don't train your mind to hear manipulation clearly, you will keep explaining away the very patterns that are draining your self-respect. Here's what it really means when those words show up in the wrong context. It means the conversation is no longer about what happened. It's now about whether you are allowed to have instincts. That is the shift. That is the trap. And if you miss that shift, you will spend weeks trying to prove a case when the real evidence was already there in the way she made you abandon your own reality. A lot of men get this wrong. They hear those 5 words and think, maybe I am overthinking. Maybe I need to be more secure. Maybe if I become less intense, less observant, less honest about what I feel, the relationship will calm down. No, that is not maturity. That is self-erasure. There is a difference between being paranoid and being perceptive. There is a difference between insecurity and pattern recognition. There is a difference between peace and sedation. If something feels off and the answer you keep getting is not explanation but dismissal, then what you are dealing with is not intimacy. That's called deflection. And deflection has a purpose, always. It buys time. Time to keep the double life alive. Time to keep the backup plan hidden. Time to keep the benefits of your loyalty while investing emotionally, physically, or psychologically somewhere else. People who are clean do not need to make you feel crazy for asking clean questions. People who are honest do not panic at clarity. They may feel hurt, they may feel frustrated, but they do not need to reduce you to a caricature just to escape accountability. That is the hard truth. Cheating does not only happen in the body, it happens in behavior first. It happens in energy first. It happens in language first. The late replies, the missing warmth, the sudden privacy, the emotionally unavailable eyes, the little contempt in the voice, the weird irritation when you ask simple things. Then comes the phrase, "You're just being paranoid again." Translation: stop following your instincts. Stop connecting the dots. Stop making my contradictions expensive. Why does it happen? Root cause, not the excuse, not the story. The root. It happens when a person wants freedom without consequences, attention without responsibility, desire without honesty. It happens when someone has learned that image is more important than integrity. It happens when they believe your love can be used against you. Your patience, your hope, your fear of losing them. They count on your hesitation. They count on the fact that you would rather doubt yourself than face the possibility that the person you invested in is not who you thought they were. And that is why so many good men get trapped. Not weak men, good men, men who want to understand, men who want to communicate, men who want to be fair, men who do not want to become cynical or accusatory. Those men often stay too long in situations that are clearly rotting because they confuse restraint with blindness. They confuse empathy with surrender. They confuse giving another chance with giving away their dignity. Listen carefully. Your heart is not the problem. Your refusal to verify is the problem. Your loyalty is not the problem. Your willingness to offer loyalty before truth is the problem. Your desire to make it work is not the problem. The problem is when make it work becomes code for ignore what is happening and tolerate what destroys you. What does it cost you when you keep swallowing that phrase? Everything starts to distort. You stop trusting your own read of people. You stop speaking directly because you've been trained to feel guilty for noticing. You stop sleeping well. You stop focusing. You replay conversations in your head. You reread texts. You analyze tone. You become a detective in a relationship that should have offered peace. You stop being present in your mission. You stop being dangerous in your purpose. You stop carrying yourself like a man with standards and start moving like a man asking permission to believe his own experience. That cost is not small. It changes your posture. It changes your nervous system. It changes the way you enter rooms. A man who has abandoned his own perception becomes easy to manipulate everywhere else too. At work, in friendships, in family, in business. Once you accept gaslighting in your intimacy, you start normalizing disrespect in every other area of your life. That's called contamination. So reframe this right now. The phrase itself is not the entire proof. The pattern around the phrase is the proof. That matters because mature men do not jump to conclusions off one sentence. But they also do not ignore a sentence that appears again and again whenever facts get uncomfortable. You look at timing. You look at consistency. You look at changes in warmth, openness, and accountability. You look at whether your question is being answered or whether your character is being attacked. Those are not the same thing. One is dialogue, the other is control. Ask yourself this. When you bring up a concern, does the conversation move toward truth or away from it? Does it get clearer or foggier? Does she respond with specifics or with shame tactics? Does she help you understand or does she make you regret asking? Because that difference tells you everything. Healthy people move toward resolution. Deceptive people move toward confusion. And this is where most men need to hear something they do not want to hear. You are not betrayed only when she lies to you. You are betrayed the moment you start lying to yourself to keep her. Sit with that, because that is where the real fall begins, not when she pulls away. When you abandon your own standards to chase her explanation, when you start bargaining with reality, when you say, maybe this disrespect means something else. Maybe this distance is normal. Maybe this contempt is stress. Maybe these contradictions are nothing. No. At some point, confusion becomes a choice. Now let me show you the archetype. The man who does not get destroyed by this. The man who walks through fire without becoming bitter. The man who sees clearly and stays solid. He is not loud. He is not theatrical. He is not obsessed with proving dominance. He does not threaten. He does not beg. He does not monitor every move. He does not chase closure from someone committed to confusion. He is grounded. He has a mission outside the relationship. He has discipline in his body and discipline in his speech. His self-respect is not rented from female approval. His peace does not depend on being chosen by someone unstable. He listens. He observes. He verifies. And once the pattern is clear, he acts. That man understands something most men learn too late. Love without respect is a trap. Attention without honesty is a drug. Chemistry without character is a curse. He knows that boundaries are not punishment. That's called self-protection. He knows silence can be stronger than argument. He knows walking away is not weakness when what you are leaving is corrosion. He knows closure is a luxury, not a requirement. He does not need the full confession to honor the full pattern. Be that man, not the man who keeps asking the same question 10 different ways, hoping honesty will finally show up out of guilt. Not the man who accepts being mocked for caring. Not the man who trades certainty for scraps. Not the man who lets his intuition be cross-examined while her behavior remains untouched. Do this instead. Slow down. Stop arguing your instincts. Write down the facts, not your fear. The facts, dates, changes, contradictions, tone shifts, broken patterns. Watch what happens when you remove emotion and look at behavior cleanly. Then ask one direct question. 1. Calm voice. No performance. No speeches, no emotional flooding, just clarity. And then watch the response. If the response is openness, details, concern for your confusion, and a willingness to restore trust, you have something to work with. If the response is contempt, reversal, guilt-tripping, mockery, vagueness, and a push to make you feel small for noticing, you also have your answer. Different answer, same clarity. Then stop doing what weakens you. Stop over-explaining. Stop pleading for honesty. Stop presenting evidence like a lawyer to someone already committed to evasion. Stop asking for reassurance from the person causing the anxiety. Stop competing with the ghost in the room. Stop trying to win back the attention of someone who only values you when you are easy to control. Redirect. Redirect your energy into your body, your money, your standards, your brotherhood, your work, your sleep, your discipline, your spiritual center, your future. Redirect out of obsession and into construction. Redirect out of monitoring and into movement. Redirect out of emotional chaos and into clean action. And if the truth becomes obvious, leave with dignity. Not to teach a lesson, not to create regret, not to manipulate her into chasing. Leave because your nervous system deserves peace. Leave because your life has value. Leave because a man who keeps himself in a dishonest environment slowly starts to rot from the inside. Leave because the price of staying is your identity. Some of you are waiting for undeniable proof because you think that makes you rational. But sometimes, undeniable proof is just another name for emotional procrastination. You already know enough. Not enough to hate, not enough to explode, enough to decide, enough to protect your mind, enough to stop offering premium access to someone giving discount behavior. This is where your life changes. The moment you realize that your job is not to decode every woman. Your job is to become the kind of man who does not stay where truth is absent. That is power, real power. Not control over her, control over yourself, control over your standards, control over your response, control over what gets access to your time, your body, your loyalty, your future. Because once you have that, manipulation loses its teeth. The phrase loses its effect. You're just being paranoid again. No, I'm paying attention. I'm observing the pattern. I'm listening to the mismatch between your words and your behavior. I'm not here to accuse blindly, and I'm not here to abandon myself so you can stay comfortable. That is the frame. That is the mindset. Calm, firm, unmoved. Remember this too. Bitterness is not wisdom. Hatred is not strength. The goal is not to become cold. The goal is to become clear. The goal is to become discerning. The goal is to choose women who do not need smoke, mirrors, and guilt to maintain connection. The goal is to become a man who would rather be alone in peace than attached in confusion. That is not loneliness. That's called freedom. So if those 5 words have been haunting you, if you've heard them while your gut kept screaming that something was wrong, stop trying to earn the right to trust yourself. You already have it. Your perception is not a crime. Your standards are not abuse. Your questions are not weakness. Your pain is not proof that you should stay. Sometimes your pain is the final signal that your spirit is done negotiating with what your mind has been trying to excuse. Stand up internally first, then externally. Clean your life up. Tighten your habits. Return to your mission. Rebuild your self-trust one decision at a time. Speak less. Observe more. Chase nothing. Beg for nothing. Accept nothing unclear. If it is real, it can survive scrutiny. If it is false, clarity will break it. And when it breaks, let it. Not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Some things leave and reveal how much of your energy was trapped in survival mode. Some people exit and you finally remember your strength. Some illusions die and your real life begins. You are not here to be chosen at any cost. You are here to choose what aligns with your dignity. You are not here to become an investigator in your own home. You are here to build a life so solid that deception has nowhere to sit. You are not here to be slowly trained out of your instincts. You are here to sharpen them, trust them, and lead yourself with them. You are the answer, not her apology, not her explanation, not the final confession. You, your standards, your boundaries, your clarity, your refusal to trade self-respect for temporary attachment, that is the identity reset. That is the comeback. That is the man you were supposed to become through the pain, not after the pain through it. So subscribe if you want more truth like this, the kind that clears the fog and puts your spine back where it belongs. And if you're one of the men rebuilding yourself in silence, know this: you are not alone here. You are among men who are done begging for clarity and ready to live it.